and welcome back to my channel, Minimum Player Count. I'm Stephanie, and today we are taking a look at a lot of games. These are all by Foxmind Games, and I want to thank them for sending me these games to play and give you an idea of. These are great gift ideas for the holidays. I know they're coming up and right around the corner, so I wanted to showcase these all for you and give you ideas of what each of these games are without going into too much depth of each game, but I will be showing you each one of these games at different intervals. You will be able to see those in the description below. So if you want to jump to a certain video or a game, you can do that at the description below. But without further ado, let's get started. So the first game I'm gonna go over is The Last One Lost. So it is a popping game, and the way you play this game is you select a row and you pop as many as you want adjacent to the one that you just popped. So you could technically pop the whole row if you wanted to. Then you pass it on to the next person and they select a row and they can pop as many as they want to, starting from wherever. The goal of the game is to not be the last one to pop a bubble. If you are the last one, then you lose the game. So as you go back and forth, you try to count out and figure out how to make sure that you're not the last one to pop the bubble. And as you are the last person on the last row, you pop that and you lose. So this does come in variety of colors. It comes in purple and this turquoise, which is pretty cool. And the rules are inside of this. But that is an overview of The Last One Lost, a really cool stocking stuffer, gift idea, and a really quick game. The next game we're gonna go over is The Potion. This is a very cool game that it's so little, and I love the design that they did with this. I also love the components. As you can see here, we have beetles, a potion, and we also have mushrooms in here. They're very cool components. They're like plastic. They're not flimsy cardboard, and they're super cool and kind of fun to put in your hands. But your main components or ingredients are mushroom, potion, and beetle. So those are the only things that you'll have in your hand, and then you have dye. So the goal of the game is either to have one ingredient left in your hand or two of the same one ingredient left in your hand. As this is a 3-player minimum game, you will have 2 die to roll, and once you roll the die, you will see what's on the face of the die. So in this case, say you have a 2 beetle and let's say the other side is a potion or something like that. So if you have 3 players, this would mean one person would have to play a beetle, one other person would have to play a beetle, and one person would play a potion. But you can't actually say what you're trying to play because it's all about guessing and like assuming and trying to get a good feel of what the other person's going to play. If 3 people play beetles, the game is not everyone can win. So you can't all place a beetle. It would also be too many beetles because you only have 2 here. Every person can only play 1 ingredient from your hand on a turn. So you are trying to get rid of your ingredients and your other opponents are trying to get rid of their ingredients too, but it's semi-cooperative because sometimes you need to have, 2 people to play 1 ingredient, but then you need the 3rd person to play either a different ingredient, or you might have 1 ingredient and you say, you know what, because they're playing a beetle, I'm gonna play a potion, or I think they're gonna play a beetle, and then they end up overshooting the beetle, then that means the potion would win because the potion is not shown on the face of this die and they overshot on the beetle. It's a little bit confusing. It'd probably be easier in a more in-depth review if I showed you how to play, but I'm just giving you kind of a quick overview on this game. So if you have any more questions about this game or you want to see maybe another video of this, let me know in the comments below. But let's move on to the next game so I can show you some more. Kabammm. This is a game for 2 players. It is a very simple game where you are trying to get rid of all the cards that you have in your hand. You can choose to play with or without the superhero card here, but I'm going to be showing you the rules with superhero card. So every person gets cards, and you won't actually see the card because they're double-sided. You won't actually see the face that you're working with until the game starts. There's one card that will go in the middle of the table, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to use your card to match the card that's on the table. So in this case, we'll say that we have hello? 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 So in this case, I would have matched the green and the purple here on this card. So if this was a card in the middle, I would say smash and match these right here. If you do or use a superhero, you have to match the same color. So in this case, since I'm matching a green and a purple, I can use my zoom, and I would say zoom smash to create a superhero combo. And when I do that, I'm able to discard 2 cards from my hand. So that is how you play Kabammm. So with Match Madness, you and your opponents will have 5 die that are numbered 1 through 5, and they each have different sides showing. So there are cards that are easy, medium, and hard depending on the color that you choose that is around the outside. So on a turn, a card gets flipped over, and what your goal is you're trying to make the same pattern that is shown on the card. So the first person who makes the card gets that card and gets the points. And depending on the level of difficulty of the pattern depends on how many points you get for that specific card. This is a great game for multiple players. I played this with my sister and my boyfriend, and then my mom even joined in while we were playing it because she's like, I could do this, I could beat them. And it was really fun. It was also kind of stressful. Like, they were getting really stressed out, and I was just having a really good time just like beating them. But then I lost a couple, but you know. But I really enjoyed this game, but that is how you play Match Madness. And I think these components are actually super cool, that they're plastic and that there's quite a bit of them in here, that they decided to really level up the components for this game. But let's move on to the next one. So TacTac Jack. This is a very fun game for varying ages. So what you're trying to do here is you have these cores and the bark that is surrounding it. So you hit a axe, and what you're trying to do is you hit it 3 times. I'm not gonna really hit it that hard. And when you hit it off to the side, a core piece will fall, or I'm sorry, a bark piece will fall off. Once you have completely cleared out the tree, that's when the game is over. Or as we have kind of played, once we have knocked off all the components from the tree right here, because we get a little aggressive with this game. The cores are -5 points and the bark are 1 point. So you're trying to collect as many bark pieces as you can to win the game and make your other opponents get the core pieces. But that doesn't always work out because this little thing is deceptive and you think you're just hitting it right, and then you just end up knocking everything off, and it's great, it's fun, it's loud, but I enjoyed this game. I also did a TikTok of this game that shows a little bit of the game. If you want to see that, I'll link it down in the description below for you. But let's move on to the next game. So Bermuda Pirates. This is a very cool concept for a game because you have these boards here that are all magnetic, and your goal is to collect these little pieces on your boats to bring them back to your port. So on your turn, you're kind of sailing through, and if you hit, like as you can see, my boat is now hanging there. If you hit a magnetized spot, you have to go all the way back. And because this board here, you can set it up in varying ways. It is set up in a way that you won't know exactly how it's gonna be set up. You place this main board on top of it so you can't see the components or the pieces underneath it. So it's very fun for different ages. I played this with my younger sibling and it was super fun because our boats, as soon as you kind of hit a spot and you have all these gems in your boat, they'll like fall off or like go off the board, and we think we're doing so good, and then we hit a spot and then we lose everything and have to go back. What's cool about this game as well is you also have these little buoys that you can put out, like if you hit a spot, to remind yourself that that spot's there. But it seemed like when we used the buoys, like I felt like they moved on their own, because I kept going next to the spots around it, and like everywhere around it was like all magnetized. I was like, I don't understand. It was like completely off. I don't know. I think it was rigged. But very fun game. I like it. The components are great. I think this is great for younger ages and even for adults because of how fun it is of just trying to push your little boat. And really what the goal is for the game is you're pushing it from the back here. I'm trying to show you. And when you have a spot, your boat capsizes over, and there's a little bit of a gap here to show that. But very fun game. I enjoyed this, but let's move on to the last game that I have to show you before I give you kind of my thoughts on all the games a little bit more. Kulami is a great two-player game. This is probably one of my favorites that was sent to me because, as you know, minimum player count, I love two-player games. So you and your opponent, you choose either red or black. And the point of this game is you have these little components here, and you set up either an 8x8 grid or a 10x10 grid that can change depending on how you set it up. But how you actually play is you place a marble inside one of these little spots, and your opponent has to place a marble either horizontally or vertically from where you last placed your marble. So when you start placing a lot of marbles, you kind of lose track of where the last one was. So they have these little things that fit right over the top of them to show that that was your last marble placed, and that your opponent will have to place somewhere near or adjacent to that. A couple important rules: they cannot place a marble where you have last placed your marble, so they can't place in the same little area that mine is. So in this 3x2 here, they couldn't place, but in the next one, they could place it there, and then they would place their little person on here, and then I would have to place my marble. When you're actually playing this game, you cannot also place your marble in the last place that you placed it. So even though he placed right here, or my opponent placed right here, I couldn't place my marble right here because that is the last place that I played, and I couldn't place it here because, or anywhere in here, because that is the last place my opponent played. So the game ends when you have no more legal moves to place your marbles, and you collect points based on majority of this. So if I had majority of this, I would gain 6 points for this. If you have equal majority of that, nobody gets points. So in this case, 1 and 1, nobody gets points for that. It's equal. And that is how you play Kulami. So overall thoughts for all these Fox Mine games, I really enjoyed the varying levels of difficulties and the different levels of ages that you can play with. There is so much in these Fox Mine games. I haven't actually played a single Fox Mine game until they sent these to me, and honestly, I was pleasantly surprised. A lot of these games my sibling loved, and she was just like, I want to play these again. And honestly, I loved them too. Like, I thought Bermuda Pirates was gonna be like way too like kiddish, maybe, like, you know, I wouldn't enjoy it that much, but when we played it, I was laughing so hard because I was trying so hard not to hit one of those like little spots where it magnetized, and I was trying to win. But of course, my sister won because, you know, that's just how it works. And TacTac Jack. That one is also fun because it is just like you're hitting these little pieces of wood and you're trying to get as many points as possible. But like I said, I feel like we're a little too aggressive, or we get a little too like excited about it, and then we end up hitting all the pieces off. So that's fun. Kulami, this is automatically going on my permanent shelf. I love this game so much. It was like strategic, like, you know, think of a game of like checkers, or like something that is just so like minimalistic but yet has depth to it. And I love that they set up the board to actually be, you know, variable depending on how you set it up, but it is so cool and I love this game. I really just want to bring this to like family times or like Thanksgiving, stuff like that, so I can play this with more people because it is so fun and really just so simple. And Match Madness. I like this game a lot because of the way that I was able to play this with all my family, really, and that's really rare in my family. I will bring games over and play with my little sister, and you know, my parents will be like, I'm not gonna play this or anything like that. But when I brought this game over and we were battling it out for these cards, and when my mom decided to jump in there and play, I was like, this is a winner just because of that, because it really enticed people who are watching it to want to play this game because of how cool it is, and the problem solving and like trying to get it as fast as you can was really cool. But it can also be stressful, so just be aware of that, but I'm okay with it. The potion. The potion was really cool because I could bring this to games where I have like large groups, things like that, because there's so many like little components. And this is mainly a quick bluffing game type of thing where you're just trying to get rid of all your components. And this is so easy to add to any shelf. It doesn't really take up that much space, but it does add a little bit of like a palette cleanser between like heavy games or something like that, where you're just kind of wanting to get a little light with it, but also have strategy. So I love this game as well. The last one is a great game for just if you want something as a quick game or something that you really are just kind of like mindless about. I've played this like with 2 of them at one time where we were just passing them back and forth as quickly as possible, trying to see who could win and like, you know, timing ourselves and things like that. So that was kind of fun. I know my little sister likes this game because it's just like a quick game that you can play. And like I said, it's mindless. So you don't really have to have somebody who's like wanting to commit to a game and learn rules. You're just like, don't be the last one to pop the bubble and always pop adjacent. And that's pretty much it. So that's cool for that game. Kabammm. I really like the artwork for this game, though I would say for myself, this was probably one of my least favorites in the pack because though I like the pattern matching, I like Match Madness a lot more compared to this. And I feel like the card matching with the BAM and the WHAM and all that stuff like that was not as great, maybe as a 2-player game. It could be better with a lot of people in there because it does go up to 6 people in this game. That would be fun to try with larger groups. But again, really cool art and components in this game. I like that it really shows and it kind of really draws you into this game. But I will be doing a giveaway in December for the holidays. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. Like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Also, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I will be happy to answer them. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. So, in Kulami, you place marbles on these tiles. And when you place...
Wait, babe. I got a challenge for you. Don't say the word tile, but explain it without tile.
Explain the game without using the word tile?
Yeah.
Alright. I got this. Nope.
Well, good thing there's not 2 players right now.
Hang on. Hang on. Nope. Trying to magic.
Arya, play with your mother, Arya. She needs your help.